Today I'm gonna be teaching you how to color grade a footage and have the nice saturated film look. And without wasting much time, let's dive into it. I have this footage of my friend actually working out in the gym, and I can see there's like really nice sunlight behind, and I want that actually to be my hero frame. Let's create two serial nodes, one layer, one more serial node that leads to a parallel which has three, one more serial nodes, another serial node, another serial node, and another serial node, containing 15 nodes. The first thing we need to do is change this footage from slog3 to a working Rec 709. So the first step that you're going to need to take is come onto the effects panel, type your color space transform, and just bring it on to node 13. Make sure that your input color space is matching with your camera settings. As for me, I was using the Sony A7 IV, so I'm gonna be using S Gamma 3 Cine and making sure that my input gamma is at S-log3, output color space is Rec 709, but then the output gamma, I'm going to just change this onto Cine on film log. Yeah, there we are. And the reason why I'm using the Cine on film log as the output gamma for this is because I want to add a LUT at the end of the grade actually. So this is how you need to use the LUTs properly. You don't have to do anything crazy, but just use the LUTs in this form. You come onto next node actually, turn off your effects and come onto the LUTs page. I usually love the Kodak 2383 D65 look. I'm gonna apply to the current node, turn off the LUTs window. I'm gonna push this more to this side so we can have more real estate to work with. Actually want us to make a little bit of tweaks because after us adding the LUT, I feel like it's starting to get too dark. Don't be mad about it. Let's just do it slowly, my friend, okay? So the thing that we're going to be doing is head over to the first node. That's where we're going to be working with the primary wheels. I'm gonna lift up my gamma way up. Let's exaggerate it and let's come down to our preferred place. I want us to settle here, but I don't actually like what the sunlight is doing back there. So one thing I have to do is just pull down the gain a little bit, subtracting the light from the highlights just a little bit. And I actually feel like the lift doesn't have any much problem, so I just love it as packing it there. The second node is for us to deal with the color temperature and the contrast of the total look. So I feel like we have a nice warm look, but I want us to reduce the temperature a little bit. Yes, in as much as I want us to have the warm look, I want us to do that in split toning and not in the temperature. I'll show you that in a moment. So let's pull this down a little bit. To this point, I'll just pack it at 540. It's looking nice. And for the fourth node, I want us to bring in more separation. I want us to like bring in more life into that sunlight that is coming in by actually us using the qualifier and actually just selecting the orange part of this and just press Shift H for you to see what you're highlighting. I want us to highlight more of the highlights rather than the mid-tones. I don't want us the orange look affecting the mid-tones. So the only thing I want to affect is the highlights. So after selecting that way, I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna just press Shift H to see what we are selecting. And I'm gonna come back to this and come to the HDR wheels and come to the lights and push a little bit, just tiny orange to that sunlight. It's looking nice. So if you do before and after, you already see the difference before and after. Moving on, we come on to the node number 6. This is where I usually love to create my split toning. The first thing you have to do when you're split toning, just head over to your curves, and the first thing you want to do is make sure that you're separating the YRGB, just unlink them. And the first thing you want to work with is actually the blues. Create actually 4 parts of the curve this way. And the thing that I want us to do here is bring more warmth into the highlights and add a little bit and have a little bit cooler shadows. So I'm gonna be pulling this down. You know, subtracting the blues is adding the warmth. So I'm gonna be subtracting the blues from the highlights, just like that. Let's go crazy and you'll know what I mean. Then let's just pull back. You can actually see what my waveform is doing. So I don't want us to go so crazy, but I just want us to pack it just somewhere around here. What I want us to do in the shadows is actually add a little bit more of these blues, but it doesn't have to be so crazy. Don't do it too much. And number 2, let us work on the green, on the greens. Let's do the same thing. We're going to be adding points on the curve. So I'm gonna add more red to the highlights by pulling down the green from the highlights. Less greens, more reds. Let's go to the shadows and add more green. Okay, sorry, actually let's press Ctrl Z for that and make sure you're selecting green. Come onto the green and add more green to your shadows like this. Just make sure to like kind of go crazy. It shouldn't be so much. If we do before and after, before and after, before and after, you can actually see a little bit slight tweak over there. We come over to node number 7, and these nodes, these parallel nodes, is usually for me to usually add little bit tweaks, especially if it's about the lighting and about the power windows. Let me add one power window from node number 7. Let's do this. Draw your power window, because I want us to create a nice vignette just around the subject. Make sure it's big enough. You track your power window like this. Make sure you're tracking it forward and actually backward. So it's gonna take more time depending on how powerful your setup is. So after your power windows finish tracking, just come back to your hero frame and see what we're getting just right there. Actually want to reduce the exposure. One thing I have to do is go back to the curves and link everything else and just work on my y-axis and pull down the exposure like this. What you actually notice is that we're affecting the parts that we've actually drawn the power window. In that regard, what you can do is just come over to the power window and just do an invert of that. And with that, you actually see that you're affecting the window alone, outside the window, not actually inside the window. So you have to do that, and that's gonna be looking nice, a really good vignette. So that's looking great. Coming on and moving on to number 8 is what I usually use to bring up specific color saturation and hues. For example, if I want to add more green, dark green to this look, I can actually come to the hues versus hues and start to pull my green up just a little bit. You don't have to do anything crazy. And I love this. And if I come to my hues, my blue hues over this, I just want to affect this a little bit. I'm gonna click on that and pull this up just a little bit. It's just about, remember, it's just about slight tweaks for you to have the best grade at what you're doing. Daniel! Heading over to the node number 15 and node number 16, if we're going to add more node, is for the glow and the halation, just because we've kind of like just finished our grade. One thing I usually love to do when I'm adding the glow is this is how I'm usually doing it. Come over to the effects, type in glow and bring into your footage, like into your node like this. Come over to the effects one more time, reduce the shine threshold like this, and I love to reduce my spread all the way down. Come on to your composite type and just change your composite type to soft light, and it's looking like, it's not really looking like a glow that people talk about, but I usually love to use this because it's kind of creating a nice contrast post the grade. So one thing I'm going to do on the next node is I'm going to leave that way, but one thing I want to do is just reduce the global blend this way. I don't want to be affecting much, and just head over to node number 16 and bring in your halation. Remember, halation is just going to be on the paid version of DaVinci Resolve. So reduce the threshold to the way you like it. I like to just pack it somewhere around here. I don't want us to be affecting the sunlight. The dye reflections, just do it to your preferred. I love to also add a small basic grain and increase the size a little bit, increase the strength. And I hope you can actually see the grain on YouTube, but I'll try and do something crazy. So this is our grade. We've just come from this to this, and I hope you loved our grade. Make sure to subscribe to my channel for more videos like this. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you on the next one.